slam dunks for you.
Ah,
They're
I,
slam
I,
dunks.
I'm happy not preparing anyway. Let's just rock and roll.
Yeah, you've been at this since 2010 every Monday with a newsletter at Zoe
Yeah.
Harcombe.com. That's
I've done more than
wild.
750 dissections of BS.
I was thinking about that today. I was trying to characterize what you are. You're basically the instructor for people who write papers. You go through with your red pen after, you know what I mean? Like in the
I'm
third grade when you get the
I'm the
red pen.
peer review that if they had me as the peer review, it wouldn't get published, but they
Yeah,
don't, so it does.
you're the
Hey,
main teacher. How do you get these? How do you choose these papers? Would you call them papers? Are they primarily research papers that you're reviewing on the website?
yeah, they're academic articles, so some of them I get sent by subscribers. So people will send them to me and say, "Hey, my mother-in-law is bashing me over the head saying red meat causes cancer. Can you give me some ammunition to go back with?" Some of them I see because obviously I read a lot of academic journals. I've got alerts on particular topics. Some of them I don't do so much epidemiology now because it's just been churned out the whole time by Harvard. So it's kind of here's an association study, red meat and cancer. Here's one, whole grains, and you're going to be a wonderful person. And they churn out so many each week, and it's just the same issues all the time. And I'm thinking, okay, if I'm getting bored writing the same issues every week, people are going to get bored reading it. So I just say to them, look, guys, we've done enough of these epidemiology papers. They're association, not causation. The relative risk is tiny, or they trumpet the relative risk. The absolute risk is tiny. And there's always a healthy person confounder. So the person who eats whole grains is just completely different to the person who doesn't even know what quinoa is. I mean, they're just different people, but it doesn't mean that quinoa made you healthy. It just means that, you're very affluent and you've got children called Tarquin and Olivia, and you've got a really nice lifestyle. You're a healthy person. Healthy people eat stuff like that. That stuff doesn't make them healthy. It's the other way around.
When you say you don't do epidemiology papers, what is is epidemiology when it's what is that? I'm not even going to
Yeah,
take a stab
so
at it.
I do still do them, and you'll see a lot of them on my website. So I'm up to 750 now. So an epidemiology paper is not a meta-analysis or a randomized controlled trial. So it's basically taking a population. So in the US, it always takes the nurses' health study and the health professionals follow-up study, which is male health professionals. And these things started way back in the 1980s, and they took 70,000 nurses, 70,000 male health professionals, and they get loads of data on them. So they're like, how tall are you? How much do you weigh? Do you smoke? Do you take exercise? And then they get them to do a food frequency questionnaire. What did you eat over the last year? It's like,
Okay. So
I
there's
don't even know.
surveys, not science. It's
Yeah,
surveys, not science.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And then they follow those people over the next 30 years and they say, oh, look, the people who smoked the most went on to develop lung cancer. It's like, okay, we knew that one. But then they say, oh, the people who eat the most whole grains had the, lowest bowel cancer or something like that. And the people who ate the bacon had the highest bowel cancer. And it's just an association. And when you look down, there's one table in an epidemiology paper called the characteristics table. When you look at the characteristics table and you look down, let's do a red meat one because that's in the news at the moment. So the people eating the lowest red meat have a profile. It's like they exercise more, they drink less, they don't smoke, they're better educated, they've got higher income levels, they live in better environments, they've got better access to healthcare services. And then the people who are eating the most red meat, and of course in the US, red meat is almost always burgers, hot dogs. Well, what do you eat with a burger and a hot dog? You have a white bun, you have tomato ketchup, you have fries, you have a fizzy drink, you have a milkshake. Don't blame the red meat for what the whole of the rest of the nonsense did. But of course they do. So there's just so many confounders. I mean, there'll be at least 50 of these on my site: red meat cancer, whole grains, dementia, whatever. But I'm just trying to do fewer because it's just the same problems the whole time. It's nutritional BS. It's just nonsense.
And the people who've been following this for several years, they get not only educated on that specific paper, but they start seeing the patterns of where you're pointing out, hey, these papers aren't valid.
Yeah, and it's really nice. So I speak at conferences, as you know, and quite often I'll meet with other speakers and they'll say, you've really helped me work out how to read papers, because we kind of just assume they've been through peer review and they're going to be sound. I mean, I spot major errors. I mean, numbers are just wrong. I'm a mathematician by background, and I like numbers much more than words. So I'll look in a table and it's like, there's an error there. And then you write to the authors, and mostly they're really grateful, as I would be if somebody spotted a numerical error or whatever. So mostly they're quite grateful, but then sometimes they've just done some naughty stuff and then they're not happy when I write to them. So there was the guys who try to get everyone on statins. So it's the cholesterol treatment trialists. They work out of Oxford University, and they publish these big meta-analyses saying, right, all women should be on statins, all people who are on statins should be on higher levels of statins. And a paper came out in January 2019 that said all elderly people should be on statins. And they had a massive press conference with it. It was all over the newspapers in the UK. Right, let's get all the elderly on statins. So I looked at the data in this paper. I don't read papers. I just go to the data tables. And I'm looking at the confidence intervals, which is what tells me if a finding is statistically significant. And I'm looking for the over 75s, which is what their claim was, and they weren't statistically significant. So then I look at the over 70s, they weren't statistically significant. So they are reporting non-results as results and doing a big press launch to get all the big journalists in the UK along. And they're relying on the fact that journalists don't know how to read a paper. They don't know what a number is. They don't know what a confidence interval is. So they're relying on all of that. I call them out, and then I get all the flack for it. It's like, I'm not wrong. You're wrong. You're the naughty munchkin, not me.
Can journalists understand that stuff, or is it the vast majority have no idea what they're looking at?
The vast majority have absolutely no idea what they're looking at. I mean, Malcolm Kendrick, if you haven't interviewed Malcolm, I'll put you in touch. Asim Malhotra as well. Both of them will say they've sat down with colleagues and then pointed them to some data, and the colleagues just can't read it. They just don't understand it.
They're just straight up lying. They're just straight up lying, Zoe. The paper is saying take statins, and then you're going up because they work, and then you look at the data and you're like, wait, you haven't proved that they work.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah, and far be it from me to say that they're lying, but it wasn't true. Put it that way. It wasn't true. And I wrote to the Lancet and said, this isn't true. That isn't statistically significant, nor is this. You've said even for people who haven't had a heart attack. So I looked at the primary prevention numbers, not significant, and I looked at the age numbers, not significant. So if you put in my search box statins in the over 75s, I think there's 2 articles that are on that topic from memory, but it's the one it's like the first weekend in January or February of 2019. And that's the one to have a look at.
Let me ask you this. Are these papers peer reviewed?
Yeah.
So
And this is the Lancet.
So do the peer reviewers sign their names to these papers?
Oh, that's a good question. So some journals have open peer review. So if I peer reviewed your paper, you would know that I had peer reviewed it. Most of them, I think, still have closed peer review. So you'll just get the comments back, because I've had about 20 papers published. So you'll get the comments back saying peer reviewer number 1 said this, and peer reviewer number 2 said this. And you usually don't know who the peer reviewers are. But with something like the CTT Oxford team, the Lancet, these are such gods in the world of cholesterol and statins that I don't know who they get to peer review it. But anyone who sees that paper coming in is going to go, oh my God, it's the CTT at Oxford. Nothing is going to be wrong with it. It's going to be amazing. We just need to get it through peer review as fast as possible, because the sooner people have access to this information, the better. So peer review is so different. Then you take something like the Pure study that Andrew Mente did, Dr. Andrew Mente, and they did the Pure study where they were looking at many, many different aspects, global information, and they found some very interesting findings. That would have got a lot more scrutiny in peer review, because they were saying things like we really shouldn't be too worried about salt, and we really probably haven't got fat right. And they were saying some quite sort of non-narrative stuff that would have got a lot more challenge in peer review, because the journal would have been running around the editorial office going, oh, I'm not sure we want to be saying that salt isn't a problem, because we all know that salt is a problem, don't we? And these ideas just get stuck in people's heads, and then you're not allowed to challenge them.
And you say that sarcastically, right? We all know salt is a problem.
But that is the narrative, though, isn't it? So the peer reviewer is thinking. I'll give you a great example. So my first paper, my first major paper from my PhD, that basically said we should not have introduced the dietary fat guidelines. I've looked at all the evidence that was available at the time they were introduced. So back in 1977-80 in the US, 1983 in the UK, I've looked at all the randomized controlled trials, which is the highest level of evidence. I've pulled them together in meta-analysis, which is the strongest thing that I can do. And there is no evidence whatsoever that those should have been introduced. So that paper went out to peer review, and I think I've got it somewhere on my site. If not, I can send it to you in the show notes. One of the peer reviewers came back and literally said, but we know that saturated fat causes heart disease. So what is the point of this paper?
Wow.
Yeah, it's like the point of this paper is that when you actually look at the evidence, it doesn't say that.
That's like a response from a 3-year-old.
Yeah, but we know this. It's like there's so much that we think we know.
Tell me about these guidelines that you're talking about, the dietary fat guidelines.
Yeah, so in about 1977. So
is this what you did your PhD on?
Yeah, this is my PhD. So this is my home turf.
Real quick, so you got your math degree from Cambridge, and then you got your PhD from?
Yeah, University of West of Scotland. So it was up in Glasgow. Actually, I got it from a coffee shop in Cardiff, because I didn't really go to Glasgow. I had a retired supervisor down here who I just, really a short story. He'd written something in the local newspaper, and so I tracked him down and I wrote to him. He'd said, basically obesity is about people not exercising enough. So I wrote to him and I said, I don't think that's right. And I didn't realize he loved debating. So he said, right, come and meet me in a coffee shop. And I'm like, oh my God, is this a psycho or something? And he turned out to be this most amazing guy. He was getting closer to retirement, and he liked nothing better than a good row. So he's like, right, get a cappuccino, sit down and tell me why you think I'm wrong in my article. And we still debate. He came round for dinner with his wife the other night, me, Andy, Bruce and Alison, and we're just having a massive row on everything. We just love it. It's so good.
Oh, I really like that. That's a really uplifting story on so many levels.
It's lovely. So Bruce Davies, Professor Bruce Davies, Dr. Bruce Davies, professor, who's an exercise cardiologist, physiologist, and an amazing guy, really amazing. And he's basically why I've got a PhD. He encouraged me to do it. He said, look, I've got some people up at the University of West of Scotland. You won't have to pay any fees. I'll supervise you. You'll have an official supervisor and all the rest of it. And you'll have, you go through all the same processes as everyone else, but I'll help you. And he did. I wouldn't have got it without him. He was brilliant.
Yeah. What did he see in you? What a huge, we'll get back to this 1979 thing. But what did he see in you? What a crazy compliment that someone would step out on a limb like that for you. How old were you at the time?
Yeah. Gosh, so when did I do, so I mean, this was over 10 years ago. Actually, no. Yeah. So no, this was over 10 years ago. So I don't know, he just liked people who would debate with him. I think one of the big things was our very first paper that we did before I got the big papers out from the PhD. So we did one, it was not a good title, but it was called Food for Thought. Have we been given the right dietary guidelines or something? And it was published in a not very good journal, but we were really struggling to get it published anywhere. And it just talked about some food facts that people don't know. So people don't seem to realize that all fats are in all foods. So why do they keep talking about saturated fat? As if there are some foods that have only got saturated fat and then foods that have got the other fats. It's just all mad. So it just had loads of really good facts in it. And Bruce loved steak, but he wouldn't eat steak because he thought it was full of saturated fat. So I got one of these little pictures for him and I said, okay, let's just take a raw steak, because take cooking out of the equation. So we get 100 grams of steak. I picked a sirloin steak from the United States Department of Agriculture database. From memory, 71 grams of that is water.
Oh, wow.
So steak is mostly water, 21 grams is protein. So then steak is mostly protein. You've got about 1% ash minerals. So then you've got 7% that is fat. And of those 7 grams of fat, 7% of fat, 2 are saturated fat. So I'm like,
2%? 2%?
two of this sirloin steak. I mean, there are different steaks. You can get different steaks. A ribeye, as you know, would be fattier. A fillet steak would be even leaner. So I thought I'll take a sirloin. That's a
Okay.
midway. People cut the fat off their steak anyway if they're daft. So it's a typical steak. And when I said to Bruce, okay, so if you are worried about saturated fat, and you shouldn't be, because we're about to do this PhD looking at the evidence or whatever, it's only 2% anyway. So he went back to eating steak. So he's so happy. He's really open-minded. That's what I like about him. I don't know what he likes about me, actually. I guess that I'm just challenging everything he thought he knew. And he gets pissed when I first say it. And he's like, no, you're wrong. And then you just give him a little factoid or something. He likes facts. So you give him a factoid that kind of shakes his table a little bit. And then he's like, okay, give me a bit more. So he's just the most open-minded person I've ever met, because most people are like, no, I believe this, and I don't care what you're about to tell me. I'm still going to believe this. I tell you what, I haven't seen you for 5 years, but there is almost nothing I believe now that I believed about 5 years ago. It's mental, when you start. I only kind of looked at climate and nutrition and the whole sort of, cows are the problem. And of course they're not. I was open to all of that. But, COVID kind of really opened up my eyes to, whoa, there's some really, really not great things going on that I just hadn't had on my radar.
I wonder if the psychology behind it is if you topple one stone, like someone's so convinced that saturated fats are bad for you, that then they start to question their whole paradigm of life.
Yeah.
And they're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, you can't. It makes no sense to me to stop being curious at one level. So what hasn't made sense to me over the last few years is people who have long known that the dietary guidelines are just terrible, and they are more likely the cause of obesity and diabetes type 2 than they ever would be the cure. People who've worked that out, and then they're kind of like, on this correct cholesterol thing doesn't make sense either, because the body's making cholesterol. I don't think my body's trying to kill me. So they've got some of the public health, and exercise isn't going to cure obesity. So they've got quite a lot of the public health things. And then COVID comes along, and it's like, oh yeah, the dietary guidelines are wrong, but they wouldn't lie to me about anything else. That's all going to be okay. And I must wear a mask, and I must stand 2 meters away from everyone. And if I walk into a restaurant, I've got to wear a mask. But if I sit down, then I'm going to be okay. The virus isn't going to get me, whatever that ever was. And that is more baffling to me than the person who just has thrown everything up in the air and said, you know what, I don't even, I don't want to name something, but, I don't even believe in X anymore. You've got to challenge it all. You've got to.
Yeah, I completely agree. I had a guy on here who had made a movie about the flat earth, and it was incredible how angry the comments were. The comments were vicious because this guy thought something that these people were so certain about. It was pretty wild. He did not convince me that the earth was flat, but I thought it was fun just listening to him talk and navigate his psychological landscape and his thinking, and that he wasn't afraid to go there. But boy, if you challenge people on things like that they're certain of, they'll become violent.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Why is that the case?
Yeah, because you're not doing anything to them.
No.
You're not taking away any of their means. You're not physically assaulting them. You're not threatening their ability to make a living and navigate the planet and be healthy.
Yeah.
You're not threatening their kids. You're just challenging a thought.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like, the whole sort of climate thing. And then people will sort of say, oh, we've got a, I saw a van yesterday morning, and it said, working towards a carbon-free future. And I'm like, seriously, it's on a van. I'll send you the photo. It's like, there's no life on Earth with a carbon-free future. There's no plants, there's no animals, there's no human. What is this vision that you've got of the carbon-free future? And when you say to people, I really don't want to be part of this carbon-free future that you've got in mind, they get visceral. They're so angry. It's like, I haven't said that I think your baby's ugly or something. I
Well,
wasn't unpleasant in any way. Why does it raise that kind of level of emotion?
Zoe, the three examples, the diet, the COVID, and the climate, the one interesting thing, I don't know if they present it this way in the United Kingdom, but the way they would present it in the United States always butted up against their argument is, if you don't, you will die. We will
Yeah.
die. So if you don't start driving an electric car, we will die. If you don't wear a mask, we will die. If you don't get the injection, we will die. If you eat saturated fats, we will die. If you don't stop eating meat, the planet's going to collapse and we'll die. So we have this, that I think that's what they do in the presentation that causes people to think that they have to stand behind it by any means necessary. Now, the flat earth one, if the earth is flat, we don't die. The earth is round,
Yeah.
we don't die. We just keep moving on. But those other three, it seems like when things are brought up, at least here in the United States, it's always, there's no like, if you don't wear a mask, you might get sick. It's, if you don't, you're gonna die. All your friends are gonna die. I mean,
Right.
if you don't stop driving, we're all gonna die. So they do that, and that causes a lot of fear in people.
Yeah. I mean, like the flat earth, I think it's bonkers, but I have no problem with someone going there.
Yeah, go there all you
Like,
want.
what is that to me? You know, if whoever that person was wants to devote their life to trying to understand that, knock yourself out. You know, it's better than watching some of the Netflix series, almost certainly. Not for me, thanks, but I'm not going to be nasty to people or judge people because of what they think. But I do find that if what you think isn't the narrative, you get a lot of hostility.
Yes,
Quite baffling. Yeah, you might be
yes.
right. It might just be that they all think we're going to die. Well, we are all going to die, but we're not going to die because we sat down and had a burger in a restaurant and didn't wear a mask when we were having the burger. That's not going to happen.
Janelle Winston, Sevon, that's because he was a condescending asshole. He was. I will give you that. Okay, I'll give you that. The flat Earth guy.
That's a fair
What
point.
he was, man. He was hostile himself. He was game. He became a condescending asshole. Okay, dietary guidelines. Where did they on fat? Where did they go sideways in 1971?
Yeah. So you had a failed presidential candidate, and they're always a little bit dodgy. You know, I'm thinking the other one that kind of got into the climate stuff. But it was Senator McGovern. So it's back in 1977. He was given a project to look at poverty and food in the UK. And I think he kind of liked what he was up to and feeling really important. So he's like, do you know what? I'm just going to look at everything. So he started looking at dietary guidelines right across the board. What should we be eating? What should everybody be eating? It's like these people who think they know best for everyone. And you had this committee, and out of that came the dietary guidelines for Americans. So 1980, you have the first dietary guidelines for Americans. They were written by some guy called Mark Hegstead at the time, who was a vegetarian. McGovern himself had just been on a Pritkin boot camp, so he'd just tried out a low-fat, high-carb diet. It would have been a whole food diet, so he would have felt better straight away being on that. And then he obviously thought, oh, wow, this is what everybody should be on, low fat, high carb. And they didn't look at the evidence. That was one of the things in my first PhD paper, when I realized that there were only 6 trials that were available at the time, proper randomized control trials. They hadn't even looked at those. They weren't referenced in this big, like 900-page document that they put together. But they just got this idea that fat was a problem, and they thought it was a problem in the name of heart disease. So when you do the review of the literature in the PhD, you start coming across people like Dr. Ansel Keys and the 7 countries study, and all other, you know, the Framingham study, the Western Electric study, the low-fat diet that was trialed in London. Lots of different trials, some randomized control trials, some epidemiological studies. You look at all the evidence that was there at the time, but it was very much being looked at in men, and it was very much being looked at in the name of heart disease. Now, when I pulled all the evidence together, there was no evidence. It made no difference whatsoever. So they shouldn't have been introduced. But what people don't realize, this was a massive penny drop for me. So imagine you've got a sort of circle like that, and we only eat 3 things. So we only eat protein, fat, and carbohydrate. Now, protein tends to be a fairly constant about sort of 15%, maybe 20% of any natural diet. And that holds for omnivores as well as vegetarians. It's a remarkable sort of nutrition factoid. So you've then got the rest of the pie available, 85%. So the minute you set a cap on fat, which is what they did in those guidelines of 30%, you have made carbohydrate, you've got it, 55% of the diet. They did not know that that was safe. They didn't know it was healthy. It was just the inevitable consequence of demonizing fat, which is why I wanted to look at all the evidence for setting that 30% fat to see if that was a good idea. And there was no evidence whatsoever for doing that. So this massively high carbohydrate diet that we've been on for the last 45 years, and of course the rest of the world just follows America. So these guidelines have gone as far as Brazil and New Zealand and Canada and England and Ireland and Europe and all the rest of it. We're all on a low-fat, high-carbohydrate diet. The evidence was not there at the beginning, but once a narrative takes hold, food companies, fake food companies loved it. It's like, you want a low-fat muffin, we can do that. Low-fat yogurt, we can do all of that stuff. We can give you diet drinks that have got no fat whatsoever and chemical whatever's in them. It was a manna to heaven to the fake food industry. And it just then gathers a pace, and then nobody is allowed to challenge it.
Oh, that was right around the time the microwave came out also, right?
Probably. I don't know.
Because I remember all of a sudden, as a child, I was born in 72. I remember all of a sudden there was an aisle in every grocery store that had microwavable foods. What year was the microwave? 1945. But when did it become really popular?
I
don't think
know.
it became popular until the 80s. Do you own a microwave?
Me, yeah, I do, but I mean, you could steal it and I wouldn't notice. So the only thing that goes in the microwave is a hottie. So it's like a gel pack that I take to bed when it's really cold in the winter.
Oh, yeah.
I warm it up for 90 seconds and then it just sort of warms the bed up before you get in. But no, you could steal the microwave and we wouldn't notice.
Yeah. I don't have one in my house. I don't trust them. 1970s, okay, which is perfect because that's when all the shit food came out. They basically just introduced an aisle of shit food. Hey, so basically, let me see if I understand this correctly. You're saying that basically they said, hey, you shouldn't eat more than 30% of your diet be fat. And of course, nobody's going to fill it with 70% protein.
You can't. It's impossible. It is literally impossible.
And so carbs that just opened the door for carbs.
Yeah. Because protein is in everything. You can't get that level of protein. It's just practically impossible. I mean, somebody could try to eat nothing but protein shakes. And you'd be in bad trouble in such a quick period of time. It just can't happen. But if you're actually just eating food, because protein is in everything, it's in lettuce, it's in lentils, it's in steak and eggs, it's in everything. It just then ends up being quite a fixed proportion because it's in everything. Nature has just kind of said, I've put it in everything. If you eat the kind of things that you're in your local environment, which you should be doing, you're going to get about 15% protein. And the Pure study looked at this. There's brilliant global empirical evidence. They looked at intake of protein, fat, and carbohydrate in all these countries and continents around the world. And guess what? Protein, 15%. I mean, it's just incredible. But nobody kind of said in these committees, oh my goodness, have you thought that if we set a limit on fat of 30%, given that protein is fixed, they probably wouldn't have known that, we're going to be eating 55% of our diet in the form of carbohydrate. And carbohydrate, of course, is the one macronutrient that we actually don't even need. We don't need to consume any carbohydrate. I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but we just don't need to. So we end up having the majority of our diet in the form of the one thing that we don't actually even need.
And can you look at all sickness from then, from those guidelines from 1980 on, and it's just upward and onward? I remember being a kid and not seeing people who weighed 300 pounds, and now I can't leave my house without seeing someone who weighed 300 pounds. I remember my first trip to Texas as a kid, and I saw some really obese people, and I was like, wow, we don't have these in California.
Yeah.
And now we do.
You really can. In fact, it was my interest in obesity that first got me into this whole territory. Because as you say, sort of in the late 80s, suddenly your mum is putting margarine in the fridge instead of
Mhm.
butter, and you're
Mhm.
getting these sort of low-fat yogurts appearing, and,
Yep,
what's
everything
going
was
on
low
here?
fat in our fridge. Yep,
Yeah.
all the crackers, all that stuff, low fat.
Yeah, and it's all a bit sort of weird, and then, as you say, I mean, I knew one, overweight, really quite overweight child in the class, and I, could say the guy's name now. It was so unusual. So I kind of wanted to understand, when did all that change? And there's a great graph that I put at the beginning of my obesity book. It's an N. Haynes chart, so it comes from you guys in the US, and sort of obesity is trundling along here, and then it just takes off like an airplane. And the period that it takes off at is 1976 to 1980. So you have to ask the question, for something to change, something must change. It's a basic law of the universe. What changed? And so I started saying, well, they say that obesity is due to not doing enough exercise and eating too much. So let's look at the data. Did we start eating more and or doing less? No. If anything, it's the other way around. We were probably eating more when people were sort of more physical earlier on. Gosh, you found that very quickly. Very good.
Caleb,
Um,
thank you.
yeah, very good. And obesity just took off, and the UK was just a
Wow.
little bit behind. But again, we just sort of took off like an airplane as well. So I basically threw out a hypothesis that said, look, one thing that did change is that we completely changed our dietary guidelines. So I'm putting that out there as a hypothesis. If anyone wants to prove me wrong, I'm super happy. But that's where we are, and it hasn't been proven wrong as yet. It's the most obvious explanation of why obesity has gone from 2% to, tenfold increase in the last 3 decades in the UK. I mean, just utterly, utterly mad. And they're now forecasting. I looked at some forecasts from Monday Note recently, and I was interested in the GLP-1s. Are they changing obesity forecasts because they think everyone's going to be on these fat jabs and they're all going to lose weight, and then we're not going to have obesity anymore? No, a report looking at American predicted obesity for 2030, and then another one looking at it for 2050. Both of them are forecasting that obesity is carrying on pretty much on the trajectory it's on at the moment. So 70% of the US could be obese by 2050. So are these?
I think I saw yesterday when I was digging around that we're at 60% or something like that. Your
Yeah.
chart went up to 49% in 1999, and I think it's actually about 10% higher now.
Yeah, that was for the UK. I think it went up to
Oh,
22 from memory, 22.6 for men, 25.8 for women. Okay, no, that's the that's the one that's in my obesity book, the N. Haynes chart. Yes, so yeah, by the turn of the century, overweight and obese, you're looking at 70%. Just obese, you were looking at about 30% at the turn of the century. So yeah, project that out. I mean, 50%, 60%, 70%. Does
is,
the
is,
exact number matter? It's going to be catastrophic. And
is
it's
it?
interesting that they don't think these fat jabs are going to change that trajectory. Well, what are they going to do then?
Who knows? Well, I want to ask you some questions about that in a second. There was this stat in the papers. It was a headline that came out, and I quote it all the time. And to be honest, I don't believe it, but I hope it's not true. But they said during COVID, those 2 years, the average American put on 29 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever seen that statistic? And do you think that that could be true? Because if that's true, that's probably the worst health crisis. I mean, 29 pounds is a lot of weight to put on in 2 years.
Okay, I don't remember that number off the top of my head, but if Jamie can go on my site and put in the search box weight gain during lockdown, and there were some publications that came out. It was probably 2023, and I remember looking at it in hindsight to look at exactly this, just academic evidence on weight gain during lockdown. There you go. 22. Wow, it was quite early. It might be one that's behind a paywall, but the exact summary is usually on Open View. Yeah, so that's for subscribers. I've got to put stake on the table somehow. So
Yes.
36 studies were pulled together. Average weight gain wasn't huge, but I think it was looking at children and adolescents. Yeah, from memory. So the average wasn't huge, but it doesn't mean that some people didn't gain loads, because there were people that went the other way. So there were people that said, okay, I don't have to go into work. I'm not going to be tempted by the Starbucks right next to the office. I'm not going to have my muffin every morning. I'm going to use this lockdown opportunity to get fit and to do something about my weight or my fitness or whatever. So there, when you take the average, you've got the people who are losing and getting fitter, and then you've got the people who, as you say, gain 20 pounds.
This is a survey. It says a recent survey by the American Psychological Association showed 42% of U.S. adults have experienced undesired weight gain during the pandemic, with an average gain of 29 pounds. I mean, that's insane.
Wow. Wow. I mean, if for nothing else, it was disastrously unhealthy to do that. Forget the impact on mental health and fitness and children's development and births and losing your loved one and not actually having been able to say goodbye, which you actually never get over for the rest of your life. That alone, just that 29 pounds, please, never do that again. Never even think about doing that again. It's the most harmful thing we've ever done to human beings.
Lock them down. Yeah, I agree. Ken Walter, go ahead.
Yeah, there was not one study that said we should do that before that came out. So if you were kind of doing what I did when you heard that there was something that they were concerned about and, China had locked down, my first thought was, thank goodness I live in a country that would never do that. I was looking at the newspapers thinking, wow, amazing. I would just hate to live anywhere. Then you start looking for things. And again, if somebody can make a note of what I'm promising you here, there was was it a World Health Organization report or a European report? But there was one that said, okay, this is what would happen in the event of a pandemic. Don't stop transport, don't close schools, don't lock down, don't do this, don't do that. Literally everything that we did, the pandemic planning was don't do that. So we just actually threw out the textbook.
Never quarantine the healthy is what the CDC website said. Never quarantine the healthy.
100%. Don't quarantine healthy people. What is the point? If you wanted to be, just say, right, okay, this is what we know about this so far. If you're worried, then stay inside for a while until we've got the measure of it. If you're not worried, then knock yourself out. And you could even have been really brutal and said, but don't turn up at A&E. If you want to take the choice to go out there and see what you're going to get. But I don't know about the US. They were telling people not to turn up at the medical centres anyway here in the UK.
They filled in skate parks here where kids go with sand so kids wouldn't go play there. I mean, they taped off all our parks. I mean, most of us just went in and cut the tape and took our kids in there anyway. But there's some crazy stuff that happened in the United States that I still can't believe happened.
Yeah, no, it's still here. They would tape up park benches. So if you did go out for a walk, you could not then sit down on a park bench because you were only supposed to be leaving the house for an hour at a time. Well, what about elderly people who might want that little rest, sit in the sun, get some sun in your eyes, halfway around the park bench? But no, they needed you all rounded up and then go back in your house because, of course, not getting any vitamin D or any sunshine or meeting any people or any fresh air, that was going to be great for your health, not.
Not right. Zoe, where's your wiki page? How come you don't have a wiki page?
I don't know. I saw something on Twitter the other day where someone, because Elon, I think, is coming out with a proper wiki. I mean, wiki is just such an outrageous scam. Wiki is basically a bunch of trolls who get to decide the narrative. So we were talking about narrative earlier. If you go on Wikipedia, it's just the narrative all the time. So statins are good for you. Salt is bad for you. Masks work. Social distancing work. COVID was a deadly disease. We're lucky we all didn't die. And anyone who is saying anything counter to that, they don't want on wiki. So
did you ever have a wiki page? How many books have you published?
I don't think I've ever had a wiki page. I've published, I don't know, a dozen books. First one, 2004. Mostly just straight diet books about food addiction, overeating.
I mean, you're on podcast with them. When I search your name, you're on podcast with hundreds of thousands and millions of views. And I go to look for you on wiki and there's no wiki. I'm like, wow, somebody hates you.
And I don't mind that because it's like, if you want to find out about me, come to my site or invite me on a podcast or something or watch a podcast. I'm quite open as a person. So if you want to check, so part of me at the time was kind of like, well, actually I'm okay that they're not just nicking the traffic from me. But yeah, somebody's trying to investigate Wiki to say, why is it just so focused on the narrative? How is it that you can get a troll who's been able to make 57,000 edits? Malcolm Kendrick isn't on there either. I mean, proper
He
doctor.
was on there, right? They took him off. He was
I
on
think
there.
you're right. I think he was on there, and I think they took him off. And then there's some really nasty website or something. I mean, there's loads of nasty websites. So if you're not on there, it's like, well, we'll put you on the nasty website. And it's defamatory, but you don't even know who the trolls are behind this nasty website. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. If you don't like me, don't like me. I'm not even going to know. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
I don't want to jinx you, but a friend of yours and a man I know, Tim Noakes, the government came after him of Australia, and tried to take away his medical degree because he talked about carbs being bad. Has anyone ever come after you?
Oh, well, yeah. So I think there's a bit of a mixing up of a couple of things there. So Dr. Gary Fettke was the one who was attacked in Australia.
Isn't Tim Noakes the?
Yeah, Tim Noakes is the one in South Africa.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're
no, that's
absolutely
okay.
right. Same countries to me. I'm from California. Same country. South Africa, Australia. Same thing. I'm giving myself a point for that.
It's not America. So Andy
Yeah.
and I know Belinda and Gary Fettke really well.
Okay,
They've stayed
okay.
with us. We meet
Thank you.
them if they come over to Europe or whatever. Tim, again, if Jamie looks on my website and looks up, just put in Noakes. And it will pull up all the articles, because I was one of the expert witnesses that went down for Tim's trial.
Oh, you did?
South Africa. And Nina Teicholz, Dr. Nina Teicholz now, was another one. And Dr. Karen Zinn was another one. So that's my podcast recently with Tim. But if you scroll down a little bit, you've got Tim versus the Health Professionals, HPCSA, Health Professionals Council of South Africa. You've got the whole story on there. So you've got all of this kicked off in about 2014. Tim had answered, he hadn't even put a tweet out, he'd answered a comment. Somebody had sort of waved at him on Twitter and said, hey, I'm breastfeeding. At the point when I stop breastfeeding, kind of what do I wean my baby onto? Oh, there you go. You got the tweet. You're so good at this. So is LCHF okay for breastfeeding mums? I'm worried about the dairy and the cauliflower. And he came back after a while. I mean, look, a couple of days, he missed it. The baby doesn't eat the dairy and the cauliflower, just the very healthy, high-fat breast milk. The key is, after you've done your breastfeeding, to wean baby onto LCHF. So that's basically saying go lower in carb and higher in fat, because that's basically describing the good foods. So when you're not giving baby this fantastic low carb, high fat breast milk, you want to be giving, I don't know, liver pate or blended, whatever you're eating. If you're having a roast lamb, then just blend it and make your own puree baby food kind of thing. Yep. They were looking to get him. The Dietitians Association of South Africa were looking to get him. They were obviously looking down his Twitter feed thinking, do you think this is the one? Do you think maybe we could go after him for this? And they did. So they went after him and said, you're guilty of professional conduct. We didn't know at the time, but this was why Karen Thompson, who both you and I know, this is why Karen did the first ever major low carb conference down in Cape Town, South Africa in February 2015, because she knows Prof, because she is the granddaughter of Christian Barnard, who did the first heart transplant, and Christian and Tim Noakes were of the same era and really, really good friends. So Karen is a bit like a granddaughter to Tim, and an actual granddaughter to Christian Barnard. So she organised this conference, and it was her way of saying to Tim, you're not alone. You might not know it, but there's this guy called Steve Finney, and there's Jeff Gerber, and there's Jeff Volek, and there's Gary Fettke, and there's, it was a bringing together of all these people, Eric Westman and Jason Fung and Asim Malhotra. There's all these people. So it was me and Asim from the UK, and then people from all different continents, Karen Zinn, and he realized he's not the only one saying this kind of thing, but they went after him. I mean, we didn't get the final verdict. I think it was till about 2016. So we had major trials, pre-trials, 2-week
very
trials.
expensive. Very expensive.
Oh my God. I mean, but for the fact that there were some amazing lawyers. So Rocky, and I can't remember his surname, Mike Van Der Nest, basically this amazing lawyer and barrister, Adam Pike, his actual personal lawyer, a lot of those guys said, look, this is too important. We're not going to charge. We're going to do this pro bono. You're going to end up paying some court fees or whatever. But it wasn't the millions. I mean, it almost bankrupted Gary Fettke. He didn't have that. He had to pay the millions himself, even though he was completely exonerated. Tim was completely exonerated. They go after you. And then, of course, yes, has anyone gone after me? Yeah, the Daily Mail, the Mail on Sunday. So after that article that I told you about, the statins in the over 75s, a journalist that I had actually worked with for a number of years forwarded that onto the CTT and said, oh, what's going on here? And then I'd done another note a couple of weeks later, and he'd forwarded that onto them. And then it was kind of, you know, I'm going to do a hit piece on her and Malcolm, are you with me kind of thing. That was kind of the flavour of the emails that came out during Discovery. We had the most awful, don't bring it up because you'll repeat the defamation. It shouldn't be online.
Okay.
But if you go in on my site and you put in Harcombe versus Associated.
Why shouldn't it be online? That's part of the...
Yeah, so the part of when we won, Malcolm and I won. So when you win, it was just a UK defamation case. So when you win a defamation case, so you've established that someone has defamed you, the defamation can't be repeated. It's then a criminal offence if you repeat the defamation.
Oh, so in the UK?
It's probably, it's interesting. It would apply to UK law. Yeah, we might struggle to sue you, but given that this can be seen in the UK, I mean, I'm not going to.
No. I was just curious. I'm not pushing you to bring it up. I was just curious because some of the stuff we hear coming out of the UK these days is absolutely wild in terms of the internet pressures you guys are feeling. What you can and can't do.
Goodness, I mean, we'll come to that in just a second. If you put in the search box again, if you put in Harcombe Kendrick versus ANL, which is Associated Newspapers Limited, there's one from July 2024, which is called The Judgment. And that is on OpenView. And that's a sort of 240-page judgment or something from the judge who presided over the case, who basically ruled in our favour and said, yes, you've been defamed, and everything you would ever need to know about that case is in there. Harcombe. And again, there's lots of articles on my site that cover the judgment.
Did you ever find out why they went after you? Did someone pay them to go after you? Was there something nefarious? Did you find anything in Discovery where they were somehow linked to pharma?
We got a lot in Discovery that the journalist was working very closely with that CTT. So the cholesterol treatment trialists, there were a handful of individuals, particularly where there are a shed load of emails. A lot of them are referred to in the judgment. So Marianne Damasi, for example, knew some of these characters because, like me, when they publish their meta-analyses, they don't share the raw data. So Marianne does the kind of thing that I do, which is I want to see the data. I don't want to see your narrative of the data. I want to look at the raw data because I'm going to come to my own conclusion. And they won't share it. So I'd written to them saying, why won't you share it? And Marianne had written to them saying, why won't you share it? And there was a case around 2013, 2014, when something that Asim Malhotra, an article that he had published in the BMJ and one that Dr. John Abramson had published in the BMJ at around the same time, and they both refer to this other paper that talked about statin side effects being about 20%. And the CTT complained, one particular individual complained and said, you need to retract both those articles. And fair play to Dr. Fiona Godley, who was the editor of the BMJ at the time. She said, no, I'm not going to retract them, but I'm going to put together an independent panel and we're going to investigate whether or not there's anything that I do need to do. I'm just going to put it in someone else's hands. And the panel came back and said, no, you should probably clarify that precisely it was 18%, not 20%, but hey, knock yourself out. But more importantly, they said, we're really quite concerned that these data are not publicly available and they affect patients and side effects. And why are they not publicly available? And we call on them to be made publicly available. And here we are, 11 years on, and they're still not publicly available. So, you know, things have come out on this organization over the time. Interestingly, sometimes when they've come after one of us, and then it's kind of backfired a little bit on them. And all the stuff that came out during the disclosure, they wouldn't have thought for 1 minute that me and Malcolm, two little, practically nobodies, they're sirs and professors and all the rest of it. They couldn't have thought that we would have done what we did, and but for our amazing law firm, we wouldn't have been able to do it because they did it for us on a no-win, no-fee basis. So, you know, the stakes were still high. It was complex, but they basically backed us. But yeah, at the moment, my biggest worry is that I put some hurty words on Twitter. I know. I'm a law-abiding, police-respecting. I was always brought up that if you're in trouble, you go and find the nearest police officer because they'll look after you. I know 4 people who are currently in legal action against the police in the UK. And they are people like me. They are law-abiding, professional, university-educated people who have an opinion that the state doesn't want them to have. It's bonkers over here.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know which headlines to believe or not, but it does seem like it's bonkers. There's some chart out there where it shows all the different countries arresting people for social media posts, and the United Kingdom is like, 4x what Russia and China is doing.
Yeah, I heard on a podcast recently it was like 12,000 in the last year, and Russia or something was 3,000 or 4,000 or something.
Did you see this? Did you see this footage? There was a Free Palestine rally in London, and there was a man there wearing a yarmulke. And the UK police came up to him and said, "Hey, you can't be here." And he said, "Why?" And they said, "Because you look Jewish." And he said, "Is looking Jewish illegal?" And they said, "Well, in a situation like this, it incites violence."
Whoa.
And
I didn't see it. I tried to spend a little...
I'm like, is this real? This guy can't.
Yeah.
This guy's look incites violence, and so
Yeah.
they threatened to arrest him. It is. It's
Well,
wild.
I know someone who turned up at a trans rally wearing a billboard saying, deeply Christian young man, and his view is that thinking that you can change sex is a mental illness because it's a delusion. It's not a real construct kind of thing. So I think his billboard said something like that. The trans whatever ideology is mental illness.
I agree.
And he was arrested.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, but their view, okay, I try to be balanced here. So their view is you standing there next to people who hold the completely opposite view has the potential to incite violence. So
then they have to arrest both sides.
Yeah, it's like, well,
it's like arresting someone. It's like arresting someone. We were in Africa, and Greg and I were visiting this village in the middle of nowhere, and they said they beheaded someone for being gay.
Oh,
and
wow.
Greg goes, "What do you mean one person? Where's the other guy?" It's like, hey man, like, they're both. Yeah, it's wild. It is.
That's really funny. That's so Greg, isn't it?
And yeah, it is. And by the way, just to emphasize, one of the problems is that one of the cornerstones of fascism and socialism is taking the rights away of individuals and giving them to groups.
Yes.
And that is what they're doing when they don't let someone stand out there with the billboard. They're taking the right away from an individual and giving it to a group.
Yeah.
And that's really scary stuff.
Yeah. And
that's how you end up with like slavery and genocides and Holocaust.
Yes.
That's the origin of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was, as I say, I don't watch too much on social media at the moment because it just all seems a bit bleak, apart from a sort of a fun cat video or something. But I did happen to catch one when a guy had the good thinking to video the police coming into his home to arrest him for his sort of social media posts. And he's like, so what have I done? And the police are saying, well, someone was offended.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's literally nothing that anyone in the world could say that would not offend someone else. Literally nothing. I mean, you want to know, right? The most offensive thing I usually say is fruit is not all that. Okay? It's not all that. It's just basically sugar and water. Fruit is not the really healthy thing that you think it is. Oh my goodness, the hate I get for saying fruit is just not all that. I love it. I love fruit. Honestly, I love fruit. I get that you love it. I love it too. But it's just not as nutritious as liver pate or sardines or oily fish or something like that. It's just a nutritional fact. But you can't say anything that's not going to offend someone. So you can't go around arresting people because someone got offended. I'm sorry, if you got offended, that's on you. I didn't mean to cause you offense. People take offense. You don't You don't cause them to have it. They chose to take offense. So like that flat earth guy, I choose not to take offense.
Right.
Because why should I? That's too
Right.
much of my energy gone. If I take offense because someone wants to believe that the earth is flat, or someone wants to believe that 0.04% CO2 in the atmosphere is the end of life as we know it, whatever, knock yourself out. I'm not going to be offended. But don't just try to stop my access to energy because you have that belief system. Then I do get a bit offended.
Jeff says fiber. Oh, last time Zoe was on, she gave a great talk on fiber. Let me hold off on fiber here really quick, and let me ask you this: what is gut flora, and don't you need vegetables in order to maintain good gut health?
No.
No. Okay.
So it's not just gut flora. I mean, we're a mass of bacteria. I mean, if you go back to that steak, it's sort of,
Speak for yourself, Zoe. I'm not a bacteria.
We are a massive bacteria, trust me,
Okay,
everywhere.
fine. Okay,
Hair,
yeah.
nails, body. It's just the gut happens to host a huge amount of the gut of the flora in our body. That's why it's called the sort of gut flora. And we have good gut flora and we have not so good gut flora. So off the top of my head, Lactobacillus, Acidophilus or whatever, those are good guys. Candida albicans, not quite such good guys. Now, if we eat well and live a good lifestyle, our gut flora just kind of stays in balance and it's quite happy. If you take a course of antibiotics, you tend to kill the good guys, which lets the bad guys proliferate. That was one of the things I became interested in with my first book when I'm trying to understand food cravings, because that can actually generate food cravings because the bad yeast in your gut is crying out to be fed and you start craving stuff that's going to feed that. So it really can affect some unusual things in the body. So you want your gut flora in good balance, but it's basically going to stay in good balance as long as you don't do really bad things like drugs, pharmaceutical drugs, don't get enough sleep, don't get enough exercise, eat processed food all the time. So if you're eating real food and living a fairly healthy, non-sedentary lifestyle, your gut flora is just going to be fine. Vegetables are going to do nothing to aid your gut flora.
You deserve a better question than this, but what I was told is you take these probiotics, and those are for your gut flora, right?
Well, you can, but you can also just get that in real food. So,
But that they won't survive unless you eat vegetables, that there's something in vegetables that allows them to proliferate. No, not true.
There's really nothing in vegetables. So, okay, what makes for a great gut flora? If you really want to look at the whole life cycle of the gut flora, first of all, you should have healthy parents. Because they're going to determine your gut flora, and it's going to have a huge impact throughout the rest of your life.
Because of what they eat or what they transfer to you in birth?
Yeah, both. So that's the next thing.
Okay.
Then you should have natural childbirth, because then mum bathes you in this really good gut flora as you're coming, or body flora as you're coming out. Then you should be breastfed for as long as possible, and appreciate not everyone can. I'm not being judgmental here, but that's just what's going to give you gut flora. Then you don't take antibiotics as a child unless your life depends on it. If you do take antibiotics, you do something to compensate alongside, which would be to give the child kefir or natural live yogurt or some fermented cheeses, or kombucha or something, just any kind of fermented kind of foods. Vegetables are just not getting a look in. And then as you get older, so what would I do if I wanted to improve my gut flora? Back to kefir, natural live yogurt, blue cheeses, healthy food, non-processed food, non-antibiotics, definitely not these antacids and meprazoles and the things that even 7 million Brits are on. There must be like 40 million Americans. Just none of that nonsense. Vegetables have got nothing to do with it. Seriously, nothing.
What are antacids? Those are, I think I've seen that. Is that like a Tums, or I think I see old people have those?
Yeah, so it's the azole thing at the end. So it's sort of a meprazole. There are other names, but that's the most common one. So the stomach is the most acidic place on earth. And doctors in their neutralized stomach acid. I mean, that's just hilarious. It's the most acidic place on earth. And suddenly you know better than God. And you don't want the stomach to be super acidic. So you're going to get people to take medications that make it less acidic. How's that going to work? You're fighting the body the whole time. The body has this incredible mechanism to keep it at exactly the right acidity. And it's not just the stomach, your pH level in the body is it 7.4 or whatever? You know, your body just keeps it at that perfect level. Go too low, you're in big trouble. Too high, you're in big trouble. Like blood glucose, too low, too high, big trouble. The body just manages all of that. But in our infinite wisdom, the pharmaceutical company have said, no, don't think it should be that acidic, really. Based on what? So if I had stomach problems, I would increase the acidity in my stomach. So I would take apple cider vinegar. And I know people that doctors, we went to a Norway conference once and we met some doctors that give their patients, I think it was, don't get me wrong on this, hydrochloric acid or something. It was something bonkers, but it actually immediately corrects a sort of under acidity of the stomach very, very quickly. Pain goes away, nausea goes away, happy people, no need for antacids, everything's okay. I would just take apple cider vinegar. That's a bit extreme.
Hey, well, you know what's interesting about this is you have fat people, and you know whether it's semantics or not, but give them more fat and they'll lose weight. Reduce the carbohydrates and increase their fat. And you have acid problems, and you take apple cider vinegar, not something to neutralize it.
Yep. Yep.
Wow,
Yep.
I can't wait to. I've only had like acid reflux like a few times in my life. It's like I think there was a restaurant I'd go to where I would eat their chips and have a margarita there, and then like 20 minutes later I'd be like, oh, I don't feel so good.
Okay, so you want a really quick tip for indigestion? It's my favorite one. So in the cupboard, and some people now carry them in their man bag or handbag, fennel seeds. So you get a pinch of fennel seeds and you pop them in the bottom of your mouth, and they taste a bit like aniseed or ouzo, if you know that alcohol drink. So they're not unpleasant at all. And you just leave them in the bottom of your mouth, and you've got to make sure you don't just chew them and swallow them. So they just mulch down, and you might sort of, you know, move them around a little bit, but don't chew them and swallow them, just mulch them down. You should be able to keep them in for at least 10 minutes. And all the time that you're doing that, this juice is just going down your esophagus and going down into your digestive system. By the time you realize that actually they've all gone, they've just kind of evolved, you know, mushed down, and you've kind of swallowed whatever was left, you don't have indigestion anymore. It's incredible.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. Well, hopefully I never have it again. I don't really go to that place anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully that's done. Oh, someone said something funny in here. Let me see. This is pretty funny. Zoe's the Katie Hopkins of health. Wow. Do you know Katie Hopkins?
I do. I actually have a photo of Andy with Katie Hopkins. I've seen Katie a few times live. She's utterly hilarious.
She's fantastic.
She's the one calling out all the nonsense in the UK at the moment. She does this sort of batshit bonkers Britain.
Yes.
And she does it every evening on Twitter. She'll just put out a 90-second video like, today somebody got arrested for offending somebody, and a prisoner escaped who'd raped a 14-year-old girl, but you know, they let him go. Don't let it worry. I mean, she just does like a roundup. So we're off to see Katie next on the 14th of November, and it's the end of her tour in the UK. She gets cancelled everywhere.
Yeah, what's her deal? What are her origins? Was she a news broadcaster? What's her deal? Do you know her origins? Was she?
Good question. Right. For anyone interested in the origins of Katie Hopkins, the best podcast that I heard with Katie is a guy called Andrew Gold. You would love Andrew Gold. He's such a great interviewer. I think he was ex-BBC, and he now does this podcast called Heretics. And he did one with Katie Hopkins earlier on this year. And it's very raw, because she is very funny, but she has some very serious backstory as well. And at times she's funny, and at times she's very, very serious, and she gives them quite a hard time. She had to leave her kids and her family because of the hate that she was getting. She basically, you know, if I say to somebody, oh, we're off to see Katie Hopkins, they go, oh my God, she's racist. That's terrible. So I say, what has she done that's racist? And then they would say, oh, she says that that's it. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, that one. She said there's these Pakistani men raping young girls. It's like, yeah. And she called that out in, I think it was about 2015. Now, if people had listened to her, instead of calling her racist, maybe tens of thousands of young British girls would not have been gang raped and tortured and mutilated by these complete monsters who just happened to be, in almost all cases, of different ethnic origin, to Indigenous British guys, because there are some rapists in the UK, there are some bad guys in the UK, but there aren't that many. You know, we are not breeding men. You know, we're not bringing up men to disrespect
You're not
women.
able to assimilate the people as fast as they're coming in the country. Is
Oh,
basically they're culturally just not
definitely not.
assimilated. They come from a place where it's okay. I just read the stat yesterday on the show. 84% of all rapes in Sweden are from immigrants, and their rape rate has doubled in the last 10 years. It's nuts.
It
It's
is. And if
nuts.
you're a female, as I
Yeah,
am,
yeah.
or, you know, everyone knows a female or has a female, has a sister, has a wife, has a
A mom.
whatever, mum. It is utterly terrifying. Actually, you have completely compromised the safety of our women and girls and children. And actually, for some of them, it's not just girls. You know, there are a lot of boys that have been attacked
Yep.
and targeted as well. It's generally women and children. And it's just utterly horrific. So her saying this is going on, and there's a Guardian article, I think it's from about 2015, and they were the ones that started going after, you know, how dare she say this kind of thing? How dare she be so racist? They're not coming out now and saying, Katie, we're really sorry, and we dread to think how many young girls have had their entire lives destroyed or have been murdered or have committed suicide because we didn't believe you. And nobody can tell you anything that she's doing that's racist. She's
It's the
just
it's
saying,
the gaslighting. They're basically coming to the defense of the rapists.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
because
crazy gaslighting.
we've got to be kind. You know, it's not kind to sort of tarnish people. Oh yeah, I mean, I saw that one. That's utterly, it's heartbreaking.
This
It's
story,
just,
some of the stories are just absolutely wild.
it's heartbreaking. I mean, there's Ireland erupted a couple of days ago because a 10-year-old has been raped by a migrant. You know, a 10-year-old should not even know what sex is. I mean,
No.
that's life. That's life over for that young girl.
Yep.
Life as she knew it. You know, God pray she gets through it and she recovers at some way. She's never going to be the same again. This should not be allowed. This is being encouraged. We have been put at risk by our own governments for some. We could go into why we think all of this is happening, whether it's to get you votes or whether it's to destabilize nationalities and pride and to make people not feel so good about their country because they want us all to be managed in one world government or whatever. There's many debates as to why this is going on. I care not about the why. I care what about the consequences. And enough already. You know, be at revolution soon.
What is going to happen over there? The belief here in the United States is that basically Europe is falling except for Poland. That like it's pretty. I would say half the United States is starting to think that. Is it getting that bad there? Especially people are real over here are really concerned about the United Kingdom and France and Sweden.
I would find that difficult to argue against, to be honest. If I was in a debate with an American at a dinner party and I had the task of trying to defend that point of view from the UK, I would struggle. There are,
and they're turning a blind eye. They're turning a blind eye to it in Australia also. I think Australia is now 25% of the people on the continent are not born there.
Wow.
That's a cultural sweep. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, immigration is not all the same. So I go and see, I had a yoga injury. I go and see a doctor. I looked him up. I was assigned this doctor and I called him Mr. Wrist. I'm like, what he doesn't know about the wrist is not worth knowing. I mean, he was just amazing. And he's an amazing Indian doctor. I want him. I want him in the country.
Right.
I want the people who are working. I want the people who enjoy being British. I want the people who are contributing to our society. I love that kind of diversity. I love meeting people at different cultures or whatever, but they all just want to be part of the same culture. If they've got the same values and the same work ethic, I don't care where they come from. But if they're in hotels and we're paying for them and we don't exactly know why they're in the hotels, and it came out today that we're paying billions for these people in the hotels, but we've got a budget coming up where all of our taxes are going to have to go up because we've got to pay for all these people. Why are we paying for these people? They're illegal immigrants. Why are they not being deported?
I saw some other crazy stat. I'm sure Thomas is going to check it for me, but that like 64% of the UK's welfare is going to non-born citizens. Something crazy stat like that.
It's crazy. Is it Thomas with you now? Have I been calling him Jamie and he's Thomas?
No, that's Caleb. Thomas is our this is our our
Oh,
sole
okay.
our sole European listener to the show. He's here every morning, telling me all the things that I say wrong.
Okay, so are we wrong to have said that? Is that what he's saying
He,
there?
he's my no. He's you're probably really influencing him a lot because you speak that same tongue that he speaks. By the way, you transfer information faster than anyone I've had on the show. You are so great.
Thank you.
You are factual junk food for the brain.
Thank you.
Well, what was I gonna? This is here's another one I'm tripping on, and I don't know if this is your field of expertise, but I'm sure you've seen papers. What's going on? I used the word vaccines with you, and you corrected me, and I was so happy you corrected me when we were in WhatsApp. What would you call them? Gene therapies?
Yeah, yeah. Well, they
And I
say,
don't even like the word therapies because it sounds like it's doing something good. But are we seeing a relationship between what happened during COVID and cancer now?
well, I mean, just on the gene therapy one, again, make a list and tell me what I promised. There's a clip from a video that it was the president of Bayer Pharmaceuticals where he was saying, if we'd have called these things gene therapies, and I agree with you, I don't like the word, like they call it statin therapy. It's
Yeah.
not statin therapy, it's stopping your
Yeah.
body doing what it was designed to do. But he said if we had to call them gene therapies, we would have had a 97% refusal rate.
I
But
remember
of course,
that.
if you call them vaccines, not only do you get an incredible immediate acceptance because vaccines, are all amazing, you'll get no talk against them because you're not allowed to talk against vaccines. The whole internet will do your marketing for you because they'll just say vaccines are amazing. This is a vaccine. Go and take it. It's de facto amazing. And of course, you've got the complete pharmaceutical company indemnity, which was granted by Ronald Reagan in 1986, which I think he came to regret later on, but that's another story. So they are gene therapies. They do not work in the way of what people think of as vaccines. Do I think they are causing cancer? Yes. There are papers that are starting to come out. I don't have it to hand, but there was one I think that came from the Far East quite recently. The academic papers that come out on this are quite interesting because to get through peer review, they have to basically say vaccines are amazing. The COVID vaccines were amazing. They saved more lives than we could possibly ever have imagined. Because if they don't put that in the introduction, they won't get through peer review. But then they get into the meat of the thing, which is, okay, we're just going to present the data. And this is what has happened in this population data that we've been looking at. Okay, it's population data, so it's just observational. But you've got to at least start saying, does it meet the Bradford Hill criteria to start looking at possible causation and some of the relative risk ratios and the temporality, the idea that somebody has a vaccine and then they develop a turbo cancer within a few months or within the next couple of years. So yes, the evidence is emerging. Is there a plausible mechanism? Yes. If you look at the work of Jessica Rose, Kevin McKernan, I think it's the SV40, they've been looking at, apart from the fact that there seems to be DNA contamination in some of these things and the impact that it's, because Moderna stands for modifying or modernizing or something, modifying
modernization,
maybe.
yeah.
Of your RNA, of your RNA. So I didn't want that modernized or modified or whatever that word is. I didn't want that, thank you. Yeah. I was quite happy with it as it is. So yeah, you've got that. So we know that there are, it's modifying, it's giving a message to the cells in the body. And we don't then know what the body is going to do with that message. It's like, okay, you want it to do this thing. Is it only going to do that thing? Is it going to stop doing that thing at any period of time? Does it just go on doing that thing that you told it to? Are there any consequences of doing that thing? We had no idea about any of this when we started putting, I think it's up to about 15 billion jabs in arms now, if you go in our world in data. So yes, they've come up with plausible mechanism. Other authors have done the same. Anecdotally, unfortunately, my address book could tell you, I have never known so many people drop dead, have a heart attack, have a stroke, have a turbo cancer. I've lost so many people that I should not have lost. Like in our village.
Anecdotally, you're seeing, like, I didn't know a single person who died of COVID, but I do know people who are sick from the jab. Like 100.
Yeah. It is phenomenal numbers. It is, you have to believe that your family doctor must be seeing this. Your A&E department must be seeing this. I mean, people close in our neighborhood, you know, everyone, the gossip goes around the village. Oh my goodness, did you hear that so-and-so had a stroke? He's literally the fittest person in the village. You know, he was out running a marathon and then he dropped dead, or he was, you know, he was so healthy and slim and I can't believe it. And he's just gone and had a stroke. And oh my goodness, so-and-so's had another stroke and now he's had 2 strokes. And so-and-so is like, they've had a stroke, but they haven't had a stroke. It's like some mystery illness. And then everyone's come out of the menopause. It's like, that shouldn't happen. So you're attending, you know, the local barbecue.
That's happening too. Women are coming out of menopause.
Yeah. So one of the earliest red flags on this thing was menstrual problems.
I remember
and they
that.
Actually started looking into it. So it was around, I don't know, even May, June 2021. They said, right, we're putting together a task force. We're going to look into menstrual irregularities. I don't know what became of that. It was probably not a it's probably a bit of a Mickey Mouse investigation, because they would not have wanted to have found what they did find. But then somebody put in an FOI on Pfizer in Japan and got the fact that this jab that they said it would stay in the arm. Okay, so if it stays in the arm, how's that going to help with a respiratory virus? Duh, you got a problem to start with. So it's clearly not going to stay in the arm. And they got this information that said it goes to the ovaries, it goes to the testes, it goes to every single cell in the body. It's causing myocarditis, it's causing heart damage. It's just causing damage absolutely everywhere. But the menstrual irregularities have been a red flag from the beginning. And I know so many women who have come out of the menopause. That should not be physically possible. Once your body stops producing eggs, you have the perimenopause period where it's a bit erratic, and you have a period and then you don't have one for ages. And like, okay, you're in that phase now, whatever. But then at the point they've stopped, and I think menopause is defined as they've stopped for 2 years. The point they've stopped for 2 years, they've stopped. You're not producing eggs anymore. You're not going to have periods anymore. If you're bleeding, you need to go and see your doctor, because that might be cervical cancer. It might be womb cancer. It might be something else going on. And now they're like, oh, I've come out of the menopause. That shouldn't happen, guys.
I wonder what that even looks like. So basically they're having cycles, but with no eggs.
Yeah, they're producing clots.
Oh,
and it's the clots, of course.
My goodness.
Yeah, people, you've got undertakers in the UK. There's one called John, unfortunate surname, but he's called John Looney. But he's been saying, I've been doing, getting bodies ready for funerals and all the rest of it. And they have to, I don't know exactly what they do. They take the blood out or whatever. He's like, I'm pulling out clots that are 50 centimeters long. If you Google him, he starts showing the white clots that he's pulling out of people. Now, have I verified it? No. Have I gone and watched him doing this and pulling them out? No. But do I have any reason to disbelieve him? No. So what is causing these strokes and these sudden deaths? It's clots. You know, a BBC presenter in the UK called Lisa Shaw. It's so tragic. She's left behind a husband and a little boy, and the husband is just utterly bereft. He cannot get over it. You know, he had the love of his life. She's absolutely beautiful. And he couldn't believe his luck that this, gorgeous woman.
She had a heart attack?
She had one AstraZeneca jab and felt quite unwell quite soon, and had a brain hemorrhage and went into hospital kind of like feeling unwell, and then never came out of hospital. And he's just thinking, I don't even know how she was, like, I don't know, 36, maybe 42 or something. She's beautiful. I mean, if you Google Lisa Shaw, AstraZeneca, COVID vaccine, she's utterly beautiful and a lovely person by all. Everyone loved her. And she goes into hospital not feeling very well. He's not going to be thinking, my lovely wife is not going to come out. Nobody thought this could ever be that dangerous. There's a scaffolder, Alex, and I can't remember his surname. I think he might forgive me. He's done some great podcasts, and he had a leg amputated after the AstraZeneca jab. Oh, there he is. Yeah. And she's gorgeous. Look at her. Utterly beautiful. 44. And she was BBC presenter. And there's Gareth. And the little boy probably won't be named, but he's growing up without a mum.
Did the father ever come out and damn the jab?
Yeah, and he's so reasonable. He is so measured. He's so angry underneath. But if you see him on Twitter, he's just saying, I just want to talk to someone. I just want to understand how this happened. I just want to understand how nobody told us that this could be dangerous. All you ever told us was it was safe and effective. And then we really quickly found out it wasn't effective. It wasn't going to stop COVID. It wasn't going to stop you passing it on. They never even tested whether it would stop you passing it on. They never tested severity of illness. Look at the Peter Doshi article from October 2020. What does the COVID vaccine actually test? They didn't test any of the important things. And then it was just like, everybody must have this and it's safe and effective. So the first article I did on this was in December 2020.
Was that scary doing that? Were you nervous doing that?
I was. And thank you for asking, because I really was. I remember the morning
it was a scary time. People were doing bad shit to anyone who didn't stand with the narrative.
Yeah. So if you look at it, if you go on my search box and put in Chad, 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 just put in Chad, it will come up, because that was the name that they gave to the AstraZeneca compound. And so it's December 2020. There it is. And it will be on OpenView. Chad OX1, that was the name of the AstraZeneca jab. So I didn't go out there going, COVID vaccine. I tried to sort of go out there subtly. And it is so factual, that article. I just didn't dare give an opinion on anything. And I was really unhappy writing the word vaccine, because I already knew at that stage it wasn't. It was not a vaccine. It was working in a completely different way. I don't know if I would have known to call it a gene something or other, but I just knew it wasn't a vaccine. And I just went through the two academic papers. So the one for AstraZeneca that was published in the Lancet, and the one for the Pfizer jab that was published in, I think it was the New England Medical Journal. And I just went through those two papers. So it's like, this is the efficacy, this is the safety. And when you realize to get there 95% effective, that was based on 170 positive PCR tests. And they managed to get 162 in the placebo group and 8 in the vaccine group. And that's how you come up with 95% difference. And as Brooke Jackson, I think, the Pfizer whistleblower, as she explained, this was not blinded. We knew exactly who was in the placebo group. We knew that if we wanted to get money for a follow-up trial, if we wanted to keep our paymasters happy, we were to find cases in the placebo group. So just don't test the ones in the vaccine group, because the PCR test didn't work anyway. So just keep testing. I mean, you could test a papaya and it would test positive for COVID. Right. I mean, that American president did, and then he wound up dead. I don't know why he wound up dead. Maybe he shouldn't have tested the papaya.
Who was that?
There was, if you Google African presidents
right,
spoke out against COVID, who then
right.
had unfortunate demises. He was one of those. Yeah,
I think Haiti's leader spoke up against it and he died. And there was one more, maybe it was Dominican Republic. 3 leaders spoke up against it, and they're all.
Yeah, there were more in Africa. Africa, like, speaking up against the PCR test and COVID generally was a serious disease in Africa. People would die from that soon after contracting.
I want to give you a museum quality specimen of how bad information gets out there. Here we go. This is Thomas. I'm so sorry. He's one of your countrymen. I'm so sorry. I think this woman fails to understand the vast majority of migrants coming to the country are hardworking, good people. First of all, she never mentioned anything about that. And the only example she gave 2 examples, a rape, and then her doctor, who she loves, who helped her with her wrist.
I don't want them raping me. I want them fixing my wrist.
Yeah, and
that's not controversial.
And Thomas, I want to show you this just so you know, and there's tons of data on this. This is 64% of Palestinian refugees in Denmark now have criminal records. Hey, and Thomas, that means the number's more like 99%, because we know Denmark is turning the other eye because they're so terrified of being called racist. Buddy, you got to wake up, buddy.
Thomas is being sarcastic. Don't you think he's being sarcastic? Because he's saying the problem is the vetting process, because there is none. Because there's no vetting process.
No, he's just. Listen, a 100, that's amazing. What terrible luck your friends have. So he's making fun of the fact that I said I know 100 people injured by COVID. But Thomas, you've never asked one of your friends, not even your mom, because you're scared to death to ask if she got the vaccine. I ask every single one of my friends. Just think of who I am and the conversations I have with people versus you. I take my kids to a surf lesson. First thing I do is I start chatting up the surf coach. I'm like, you get the vaccine? He's like, yeah, I did. I'm like, how'd it go for you? He's like, I had a heart attack. Like, dude, you are not having those conversations with people because you were terrified. And so just I know you think you're being smart, you're young, you have testosterone level that's 25 times higher than mine. I get it. I get it. You the man. But buddy, you have two old people on the show right now, and one of them's really smart. And you just listen and learn a little bit. I love you.
So you're really smart. So if only one of us is really smart, I'm not
No,
really smart.
you are really smart. You
You're really
are
smart. I've spent time with you. You're really smart. You're funny as well.
I avoid questions of that, but I'm not smart. Okay, what do so okay, we did that. Let me ask you some I like what you said about fennel. We can make that into a clip. We the vinegar, that's good. Let me ask you what about taking you mentioned protein earlier. What do you think about taking protein, like just buying a bag of whey protein? No, you're already like
Why would you do it? Why would you do it? Just eat food.
Because the magazine told me that after I work out, I need to get protein in before the muscle closes up, and I can just put it in my blender, and
And
I
it
can
just
just
happens to cost $40 or something.
yeah.
And
So
it's
just
got a marketing campaign that comes with it. No, just eat some food. Protein's
just
in everything. Just eat proper food.
just eat a steak.
Don't be vegan.
Okay.
If you are vegan, you're probably going to need to build up your protein. But then, of course, if you're vegan, you wouldn't take a protein supplement. I don't even know what these things are. You wouldn't take one that's actually got complete protein in it because that would have come from animals, and you wouldn't do that. So you'd just be taking more plant protein, like pea protein or something, which is just not complete. So eat animals, eat food that comes from animals. And that's really difficult for me to say because you might remember I was veggie for ages. I was veggie for like 20 years or something from university. Mad. I was wrong. I had to admit that I was wrong. We need to eat animal foods. The essential nutrients in the form that we need them are found in animal foods. That's complete protein, essential fats in the form that we need them, EPA, DHA, retinol for vitamin A, not carotene, B12 in animal foods, zinc absorbable animal foods, iron absorbable, heme iron animal foods, particularly red meat and seafood. We are designed to eat animals, folks, and it broke my heart to find that out, but it is true. We have to eat animals. Sorry.
Okay, let me do something that's really self-serving here. You should be charging me for the hour for this. Let me see if I can find it.
I should be charging you.
Yeah, you should be charging me by the hour here for this. I've been ordering these cans of tuna and what is it? Is it clams? What do my kids eat? Mussels? What are the what? Let me see if I can find it in my order form on Amazon. What do you think about tuna? Do you have any issues with canned tuna as a form of protein?
There's something saying that it's too high in mercury, that we've poisoned the oceans, and we've probably done that with the entire food supply. I mean, in America, you'd struggle to find grass-fed meat in the way that we do. It's just easy here because all the animals are out grazing on the land. It rains all the time. The land can't be used for anything else. We're okay, but you put them in sheds and then give them soybeans that you've cut down the Amazon rainforest to feed them. I mean, it's nuts. Some of the way that we get food into human beings. You know, if we just do it in the proper supply chain, if we hadn't polluted the oceans, we'd probably be okay. But we have, but then we've probably polluted the land. I know the soil is not of the quality it used to be. So you're probably not getting the selenium and the magnesium that we should be. We've messed everything up. We've messed everything up. So is it perfect? No, we will have done something to mess it up. Is it a good source of protein? Yes.
Okay, so there might be something in it, but you're not like these mussels. My kid, one of my sons loves these. Every time after he works out, he's like, "Can I have a can of these?"
That's better than the protein shake. Yeah, that's definitely better.
And he eats a can of these with a pickle.
Yeah, good. Okay, so he's getting some kind of a fermented food. It's not the vegetable in the pickle, it's the fact that it's been fermented and you've got some vinegar in there. That's a pickle food is really good. You know, pickling stuff.
There doesn't look like there's anything ass in here, right? It's just like onion, garlic, lemon juice, mussel broth,
olive oil,
spices, salt.
Yeah, it's a good source of yeah, it'd be a good source of omega-3. I would guess the seafood. Sardines are really good source. Sardines with the skin and the bones, they're really good for the bone nutrients. So they've got calcium and
Oh
phosphorus and
yeah. We eat
D.
the bones when we eat
Really,
sardines. People think we're crazy.
definitely.
We just crunch them
No, no,
up.
no. Definitely. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. You get all the 3 bone nutrients then at that same time.
Bernie Gannon, this is one of the smart listeners. I wonder if Zoe advocated as convincingly for vegetarianism when she was one as she does for her current position. Oh, that's a great question.
Good question. Good question.
That's a
And
great question.
good question. And the answer is no.
You didn't. You didn't.
No, I didn't. I was never the kind of vegetarian, because I sit next to them sometimes. I was never the kind of vegetarian that was trying to get somebody else to be vegetarian kind of thing. I was never that kind of person. I was quite happy if it didn't come up. It's like, okay, my meal's been put in front of me and you've got your meal. And if we don't have a conversation about it, I'm fine. I never thought it was healthier. I thought I could be healthy enough and that it was better for the animals. And then it took me quite a while until I sort of read the Leah Keith book, heard Sally Fallon Morell talk, and I realized there is nothing that we can eat for which nothing has died. There's just nothing. And actually, you're probably, I could live off one cow for an entire year, and that would be one animal death. People who think they're eating cereals and only plant foods and nothing has died for that, look up a paper called Field Deaths in Plant Agriculture. It's the title of an academic article where they've tried to quantify the billions of animals that die every year in plant agriculture. Because I mean, look at those combine harvesters now are about the size of a tennis court, and they just sweep across the field and they hoover up the rabbits, the birds, the voles, the worms, the snails, the mice, domestic cats. If you're unlucky and your domestic cat happens to live near a agriculture field, whether they get them all out of the cereal, I don't know. Sorry, vegans, I genuinely don't know. I don't know. Look at the problems that my brother-in-law is over here at the moment from New Zealand. He's telling me about the mice problems that they're having down under in Australia. So if you Google mice epidemics in Australia, and they're all in the grain stores. So how are they getting them out of the grain stores before they make your bread? Every bit.
When my dad came to this country as an immigrant from Beirut, he worked in a spice grinding factory. And, there's a huge spice grinder, and he would stand at the top of it with a wooden pole and push the product in that would to be ground. And he said all sorts of stuff fell in there. Shoes, parts of the stick, just everything fell in there. I go, what happens? He goes, it just gets tossed in there with the spices. I'm like, wow.
Insects.
Shoes. Yeah, insects, everything.
Yeah, Andy was making cider yesterday because his brother-in-law is over, and we got loads of apples at the moment. So he's making cider, and the wasp, of course, goes into the apple mixture because it's exactly what the wasp wants.
Yeah.
And one of the guys helping was like, oh, there was a wasp that went in there, and it's like, well, he's in there now.
Hey, there's probably something medicinal there. Like there's probably, I think I saw someone say that like if you get stung by a bee, it inoculates you from something. So there's probably some inoculation someone's going to get from the venom in that.
The cider is no longer vegan, so sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
God, I love it. Okay, so do you any supplements you can get behind, like as a regular like regiment in the morning, wake up and do this?
I can. I mean, ideally we wouldn't need them, but as I said earlier, we've degraded the soil quality. Vitamin D is such an obvious one. I mean, you can get it if you live in California. You don't get it if you live in Wales, which is where we live. If we get 20 days a year where the sun is high enough and strong enough to actually give us a decent level of vitamin D, I'd be surprised.
Okay, so I don't need that because like I jump rope half naked outside every day.
Yeah, and you should be fine. And vitamin D is a fat-soluble nutrient, so you can store it in body fat.
Okay.
It's not like the water-soluble nutrients, which are the 8B vitamins and then vitamin C. Those, because you can pee them out, sweat them out, all the rest of it, you need to just keep putting those in on a practically daily basis. If you don't have B12 for about 3 weeks, you'll start going a bit crazy. But if you have loads of sun in the summer, you would then be able to store the vitamin D through the winter, but we never get enough to do that. So we need to take a vitamin D supplement to be healthy enough. If you're vegan or vegetarian, you're going to need to take some supplements to make up for the fact that you're not getting what you need. What else might I think of? If you don't like fish and you're not getting your oily fish, then consider a very good quality, non-oxidizable omega-3 supplement.
Did you take that in liquid form or pill? I know people are really concerned about rancid fish oil.
Yeah, so I did a podcast on my website with a guy who runs a company that provides omega-3 supplements. But he really got into it because he wanted to get the ones that are not going rancid and not oxidized. And it's all about refrigeration and time in the supply chain and all the rest of it. So if you put in omega-3 on my website, it comes up with a conversation with him, and you can make up your own mind. You can say, no, he's just trying to sell me supplements, I don't buy it. Or you can say, actually, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. I'm gonna investigate getting some of his stuff.
Thomas wants also you totally butchered my immigrant take. All right, I apologize. All right, maybe Zoe got it right. She thought you were being sarcastic.
I think he's being cute. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Does he look
Sorry.
cute? Yeah, he's okay.
Maybe he's got that European cuteness to him. Look at him.
Yeah, but young.
Oh, to be young. Okay, I apologize.
He's not my
Thomas.
Andy, is he? You know my Andy. Why would I look at another man when I've got an Andy?
And Thomas, I also always appreciate you and your dissenting opinion and your harassing. You always end up being a good 10% of the show. But what about things like the real popular one here in the United States is creatine right now? You don't need that because you eat meat and there's creatine in steak?
Yeah, I mean, it's I wouldn't. I've not looked into it. It's not jumping out as why would you need to take that? No, I might look into it. Shall I look into it? Shall I write that down?
It's huge here in the States. It's huge here in the States. The creatine is huge. You know what else is another interesting one that always interests me is citrulline.
Okay, not heard of that either. What are you doing over there? Like, just eat food, guys.
Yeah, well, someone's got to make money. Yeah, the creatine is huge. Everyone's taking it. Even my mom got sucked up into taking it. They're basic, and all of the pop doctors, you know, the Hubermans and the ladies with all the makeup on, and they're all saying that you should be taking 20 milligrams of creatine a day now, and that'll help you sleep and think faster. And
okay, I sleep really well. I think quite fast.
Yeah, you do. Meta study this, meta study that. Yeah, look it up. It's huge here. It's huge here. And basically, it got so big here that people started making creatine gummies, and then we had this huge kind of scandal here because then someone finally decided to test creatine gummies, and they had no creatine in them. And so there were all these people selling gummy bears.
That's really funny.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that would be. I mean, at least here in the States, it's hugely popular. Yeah, consumerism, 20 grams. Yeah. Christine Young, don't take 20.
Okay. Wow, they're all on it. Hey, I learned something as well. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll go look at it.
It's all the crave now. All right. Well, thank you for coming on. I waited too long to have you on again. I really appreciate it.
Are we done?
We're done. I mean, we're still live on the air. You can come back whenever you want. Is there something you want to say? We don't have to be done. We can say whatever we want.
No, I just missed you. I used to really enjoy spending time with you. It's nice having a chat.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I enjoyed your podcast very much with Tro, because I called in at a conference in London
at
the beginning of September, and Tro happened to be there, and I'd never met him. And I kind of walked in the room and we recognized each other and we gave each other a big hug. And then I caught your podcast with him and I found out all about how you're bringing up your kids and everything. And I loved it.
Huge ally, amazing man.
Love him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He keeps telling everyone he's got ADHD.
He tells people that
all the time, like on the podcast that you did. He's like, didn't you remember? Like every 5 minutes he's saying, I've got ADHD. And then I did a podcast with him. I went on his podcast and he's like, I've got ADHD. And I'm like, what even is that?
Yeah. Undiagnose him. Undiagnosed him. I watched your podcast with him yesterday. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
I can't remember what I said. Whatever. I won't remember this tomorrow.
Good. All right. You're always welcome. ZoeHarcombe.com. Smartest woman in Europe. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to have you on. Do you have anything coming out? Are you writing any new books?
No, there's one there for the taking, but I won't say what it is because it is so there for the taking.
Okay.
But no, I'm doing my Monday note. Yeah, that's it really. I think, we might start putting some of our podcasts on YouTube, because we've done quite a few now, and I'm just not very good at all that marketing stuff, and I just like reading papers and looking at numbers and that kind of thing. So we need to get a bit more sort of marketing-y and that kind of thing. But yeah, whatever. Like I don't do Instagram and all that. I can't be bothered. Anyway,
yeah,
have a lovely day.
Put them on YouTube. Definitely put them on
Okay.
YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.
Largest search engine in the world. Put them on there.
Will do. Thanks, boss.
All right. Say hi to Andy again for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers, lovely. Bye.
Bye. Greatest guest of all time. I love how fast she talks.
It's so nice.
Oh, it's like zero bullshit.
None.
Zero bullshit.
That was insane.
Goodness. Yeah. Wow, a guest that loves Sevi. Yeah. I don't know. I think she's a good person. She loves everyone.
Last time we had her on was 3 years ago. And that show was huge.
Yeah, she's great. She's so smart. I met her through Greg. Greg used to always bring her around. Greg thought she was Greg hails her as like the greatest nutritional expert of all time. He loves her. He thinks and Greg loves math, so he's super impressed by her math degree. I gotta take a piss here in a minute. Yeah, what's up? Hello?
I wrote some poetry.
Oh, let's hear it. Hi, Jamie. How are you? What's up, girl? Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's hear your poetry.
Pedro. It's Pedro.
Pedro, what's up?
Pedro Mas.
Pedro Amos. Poetry by Pedro Mas. Hit it, brother.
No, it's not. It's prose. It's like I wrote about like what I've been doing lately.
Okay, I'm all ears. The floor is yours. Please go ahead.
So I learned that I could talk to him through my phone. I sent him a letter once, and then I started talking to him through the phone because I knew I can have the CIA help me talk to him.
That's solid. I like
you get
that.
It?
Yeah, no, yeah. And who is him? That's the part I don't get.
I sent you on X. I sent you my stuff.
You sent it to me. You text it to this phone.
Yeah, to X. To your X.
Oh, okay. I don't ever check my messages in X. Okay, I'll look it up.
Or you can look up my Pedro Moss on X.
Okay. Hey, did you listen to the did you listen to the guest today?
Yeah.
What did you think? Do you think after listening to it, you might change your diet?
Well, I got the same diet that she has.
Oh, you just eat meat?
But I would rather do this Dr. Sebi diet.
What's the Sevi diet?
You eat like a monkey. I don't know.
Go ahead.
A gorilla.
Hey, how many conversations? How many people will you see today in real life?
How many
human beings will you?
I gotta go to the store and get a beer. I gotta go to the store and get a beer, maybe.
Okay, so and how will you walk down there, or will you drive down there?
I got a bicycle now.
Okay, so you'll bike down there, and then you'll interact with the people in the store and the cashier.
No, they're 702s. I don't talk to them really, unless I'm in a good mood.
Okay, and then
I'm selling a book.
You're selling a
book?
My
short stories. I'm selling short stories.
Oh, that's awesome.
On my X. And my X account.
Fine, I'll look up your X account.
I got it right here.
You did? You found
Pedro Moss. Are you there?
Oh yeah, Pedro Moss. He found you. Are you tweeting every day?
Yeah. No, I just started this because my mom's sick and I can't get her out of the hospital, and I need money.
Hey, dude, I'm gonna follow you. You better not get me in trouble.
You're already in trouble.
Oh.
I'm not gonna get you in trouble, but I'm not going to cause it.
Okay. All right. I have to pee. Thank you very much for reading your prose. You should publish that first one. That was really good.
Yeah, yeah. You got to see my resume.
Okay, I'll look at your resume. I see 702's Blood Sacrifice, Pedro Moss resume.
Yeah, on your X, you can. I send you a message for free too.
Okay.
Over there, you got to pay like $1.
Oh.
And the big one is $8.
Hey, I'm gonna suggest
The
something.
big one.
I'm gonna suggest something. I think you have to give a bunch of stuff away free before you can start charging.
Yeah, that's
okay. All right.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm trying to do it. I don't know how.
All right.
I don't know how to do
Publish some stuff for free on X so you can get a following. Hey,
Okay.
listen. I'm gonna tell you how I can change your life, and if you just take the ball and run with it. You post a photo here every single day and write something about it, and I'll pull it up on my show and do a little bit on it, like a can of your beer or your dirty feet or a gardening tip, and you post a picture, and I'll bring it up every single day on my show and share it with the world.
On X, right?
Yeah, on X. Yeah, don't fuck this up, man.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Love you, buddy.
Okay, take care.
We'll be back in a few seconds.
You show up every day to change lives. You manage a million little details, all of them critical. We get it. We know the founder mindset because Wodify was built from the ground up, just like you. We know details because we're true partners who fine-tuned every nuance of our own platform to make it work seamlessly for you. We know customer service because we obsess over customer satisfaction. You need a partner who understands your business and a platform that helps you run it like a well-oiled machine. More than another vendor, we're a partner who cares about your success as much as you do, powering your vision into a reality and your business into a legacy. We provide tech that can keep pace with your growth. The founder hustle never stops, and you wouldn't have it any other way. But with the right tech partner, you can focus on doing what you love, while we run things behind the scenes, making your business as strong as your clients. We're Wodify. We're built to build you up.
Perfect timing.
Damn, I couldn't even get my pee out in a minute. How long were we live? I just went outside and pulled my junk out and peed.
2 seconds.
Oh, okay, good. My kids think it's funny that I walk in the house in my long johns, but with a vest and a shirt on. I so need white t-shirts. Look at this white t-shirt. What it says.
It's like you're doing those online job interviews. Nice. Expert motherfucker. Cool. That's good for this. That was good for the show.
Hey, that lady too, Zoe Harcombe, that's on. Her husband's cool as shit, and when I would hang out with them, it would be I would have so much fun. She's so funny and she's so lighthearted, yet she's smart as shit. So like, I would order like a beet salad, and she would just fucking rip me the whole time. Just rip me.
That actually sounds disgusting. Why would you do that anyway?
A beet salad? You don't like beets?
No.
Oh God, I love beets. How could you not like beets?
Why do you like beets?
And then I would get, I mean, I haven't had one in a while, but I would get a beet salad because it's just, whenever you go to a fancy restaurant with Greg, get a beet salad with shrimp. Have them add shrimp or prawns to it. Oh my God. The older you are, the longer it takes. Yeah, I think so. It's funny you say that because when I was just thinking, funny you say that because when I was a kid, we used to pee for distance. I would never have that competition now.
Have you seen did you see the video of the guy that pees? He does like a circle above his head. So he like shoots it up vertical and then he just directs it around so that it lands he arcs it around himself in a circle.
No, but I would love to see that.
I gotta find this. Hold on.
There was a great Instagram account that was just people peeing in crazy places like mountaintops and shit that was pretty cool.
Yeah, scenic pisses.
Yeah, that one was cool. Yeah, I like beets.
Yeah,
Hey,
Tyler, what's wrong, Caleb? You don't like eating dirt salad? That's right. I don't like eating dirt salad. That's for poor people.
I got to read tomorrow. I'm trying to get Jason Hopper on. Also, I'll read more of my Jake Lockard Bible book today so I can report. Like, I know I'm leaving you guys hanging on what I just made it to Exodus. But I'll update you guys on that too. But basically, anyway, I'll save it for tomorrow. My girlfriend tried peeing outside standing. Didn't work out so well. Are you watching it?
It's not the same. It's not the right one, but it is fucking funny.
Hey, imagine how many wow, imagine how many times you have to do this. Oh, no way. You think that's real?
I've seen it go like where he does it around himself. Yeah, I think that's real.
What? So what's he do? He just pinches the head.
Yeah, and then you just lean back.
Yeah, your window's got to be like. I'm gonna next time I'm somewhere where I can just jump in water. You know, maybe I'll try that in the shower.
The pressure you need for that is crazy.
I mean, you got to be really comfortable pinching the helmet. What are they doing? Oh, let me see that one into the urinal. That one's crazy. Let me see that one. Wow. Wow.
Oh, this is amazing.
There's no way that's real. I want to believe it.
Oh, here we go. This is when you have a boner. When you wake up with morning wood.
That's incredible.
You got to do a handstand to get
Is he
it
actually? Let me hear audio on that one.
No, it's just a Rocky theme song.
How come I'm 53 years old and I'm being inspired by this channel? Like, I want to try some of these. Is something wrong?
It's like a trick shot, dude. You do it like 5 times a day anyway. You might as well try it a different way.
This is incredible. Oh, there's the loop.
This is it. Oh,
audio. Let me get audio on this one. Damn, I want to hear him talking through it. Fuck the audio. Damn. Okay.
It's like a lasso.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, again. How the over the shoulder, behind the back, twice over, pissed lasso. I'm baffled. I'm bemused. What is it that has brought us here? How have we evolved to this to acquire such power? Were those who pissed the furthest or with the most control ruled the world, like our fear of the dark or the tailbone? Perhaps man's proficiency in the art of the stream is the last link we have to our ancestors who had no choice but to piss great distances in order to survive. Wow. That is amazing.
Yeah, this page and scenic pisses are just 2 of my favorite pages.
Wow, that is crazy. Hey, think about how rudimentary that is. And I've never even and I've hold my dick, like, I don't know, 10 times a day. And I've never thought of doing that. The innovation and possibilities for humanity are endless. It's crazy.
We're just scratching the surface.
Even when Carl Schwab or whatever that guy's name is, the World Economic Forum guy, takes over the world, we'll still have our dicks to do pee tricks with.
That's right. And we can still do pee tricks on Instagram.
Yeah, that's amazing. Hey, so Hiller was on the other day when we were doing the great debate of impressions versus buying views. And I bought impressions using the internal YouTube, promotion app. And I put like $100 or $200 down to promote Kill Taylor.
Right.
And it used $8.14 of the money. And then they sent me an email being like, we're not promoting that show.
Are you serious?
Yeah. They're like, there's no fucking way we're promoting that show.
What the hell? So that they know about the show.
I mean, they
YouTube
have some
knows.
sort of robot or bot that heard
You don't think
us
the
swearing.
you don't think with the chick we have a quarterly call with is the one that's telling them no, we're not doing that?
I don't know, but yeah, I bought impressions live on the air. I promoted it.
The useless YouTube
And
person.
and basically it used $8.40. And I was just wondering, like, that was the show where they were doing the different Asian voices.
Barrel.
I don't know. It's crazy.
That was good. That was fucking good. It's always
So-
funny when they start ripping out Asian accents.
I know. I like the Asian accent. Oh, that's cool. Jenny just sent me a text about somewhere she might be going. That's cool. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. Wow. Did you see what Jenny sent in the crash camp? What is wrong with Jenny?
I was
Is
laughing
she
so
out of her
hard back here.
fucking mind?
She,
Jenny, you're a girl.
Can we
Jenny,
show
I'm
that, Jenny? Can I
Jenny,
show that,
I'm
Jenny?
I'm screenshotting that and sending it to those people that you were that you have nudes of, so they have something against you. My God, what is?
I'm showing this photo. She said you should show it. I'm pulling it up.
I cannot believe she sent this.
I'm guessing
Is
it's
that-
this. Can I? Should I show this one or the other one? I should show both, huh?
There's no way she took that other picture.
Can I pull up the original one, Jenny?
Joseph Ramirez refund F YouTube Kill Taylor's the shit. Thank you.
She said the other one.
There's no way, Jenny, you really took that photo?
This is so good.
Do you think she really saw this?
Yes.
Can you zoom in on that? I want to see.
Oh, buddy, I'm zooming in.
Do I see his helmet?
Yeah.
Or am I imagining that?
No, that's his helmet. He's a regular shopper there. You see this guy once a week?
She said that?
In the chat. She just said that. HEB, he's a regular shopper there. Holy hell.
I just went to get some bananas. He got one for you. There has to be something going on besides the standard boner. What the fuck? He's a he's a creep. Where's his jaw? Why is he angry? He's erected. Hey, is that maybe that's like a girl? You know, when chicks get fake tits, they're just so happy to show them, and we're all happy to see them. Maybe this guy got a dick implant, and he's just so happy.
Maybe.
Oh shit, Jenny! Do you know what he's doing? He's filming you staring at his dick. Look what he's doing with his phone.
Oh,
He's
wow.
100% filming you staring at his dick. That's amazing.
He probably can't fit that phone in his pocket.
Where is that guy's chin?
It's on his dick, dude.
Crazy. Yeah, it is genius. I'll approach him next time and talk to him. Wow. Hey, you have to film that.
Yeah, get those Meta sunglasses and ask him.
Jenny, you have to, if you walk up and talk to him, you have to film that.
This is insane.
And post that to YouTube. Oh my God, that is crazy.
Does he go there? Every time you see him at HEB, does he dress like that? Is he just like that? You just caught him on one day that he wore the shortest gray shorts ever.
Is his dick as thick as a tuna can? Is that what I'm seeing? Is it just like a crazy? It's like a
I think he's like
it's 4 inches long and 8 inches in diameter.
No, maybe.
Hey guys, I wasn't even talking about that photo. I didn't see that photo.
Almost the same shorts every time.
She sent a photo of a guy putting his dong in his mouth.
I bet this dude could put his dong in his mouth. Different colors with similar shorts. This guy, so he's not even wearing any underwear. He just wears these shorts around. He's just peacocking. He just wants somebody to be like, let's fuck.
Yeah, how you want me to jerk that thing off? Just give that thing a.
He's trying to fuck in the HEP, dog. Right in the dairy aisle.
Let me see if someone is sending us to Carolyn Lambray's Instagram to see. San Joaquin County Sheriff says voting records show people from outside the country vote in California, including Pakistan, of course. Oh, here we go. Let's see this. Where's the nut shot? Oh, in Scotland? I'm looking for it. I don't see it. 2 days ago? I don't see the nut shot. I tried. All right. There's something weird going on Pedro's station today. YouTube. I have no idea what it is. Coffee pods. And it sounds like Andrew Hiller's involved. It's at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I don't know if like
What
this
the hell?
is for veterans suicide prevention. Truck pull charity with Parker Fonticino and Andrew Hiller. I don't know if he's actually if they're actually streaming the truck pool or what. I was never into carpools. Because they have wheels. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know when like they show a strongman and he's like, he's pulling the world's largest yacht. I'm like, yeah, it's in the fucking water. I could pull it too.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, of course.
Go for it.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't think it's any harder to pull a popsicle stick than it is at the fucking
When's
Titanic.
the last time you had to try to push a car by yourself in neutral? And
but
I'm like
not in years, but once it gets going, it's like whatever.
okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my physics is poor. You're saying I don't have a firm grasp on physics?
Maybe.
Let me see what else is going on.
What is this? This dude has been DMing me.
Get with the program.
What is this?
Ian. Let's see if they have anything scheduled. No. I do have to hurry up because it's only 13 minutes before Jeffrey Birchfield leaves me.
Look at this shit. This dude has created a website that just has all of the shows on a schedule. Like it refreshes itself like every 5 minutes or some bullshit. And then it just pulls everybody's shows. Like today.
Oh, wow. Send me a link to that.
Yeah.
I'll pull that up at the end of every show.
Look, even CrossFit Games, Clinton Things, Clydesdale, Coffee Pods and Wads, us.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. I can't remember what. I guess it's probably in Central Standard Time for me then.
This is some nerd shit. Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
Oh, so I don't even okay, so lunch with Scott.
He said it's not a final product, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't care. This is fucking nice.
Keep going down. Let me see what else is on today.
Just these three. Us, Clydesdale, and Coffee Pods and Wads for now.
All right. I'm trying to get Hopper on tomorrow morning. See what the fuck's going on in Scotland. Hopefully he can let us know who's there, what's going on. Have you ever been on Nextdoor?
Next door, like about like your neighborhood, like a neighborhood watch kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, I haven't looked in that.
Oh, I can't even get on it without giving my address. A car drove off our wharf today. Haley sent me a video of it.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, Santa Cruz, the wharf there. But I don't want to punch in my address. I already got kicked off of. I got kicked off of Nextdoor during COVID for fighting with people on Nextdoor. Aaron Fraser, Clydesdale will be later than normal due to a work meeting. I was fighting with people about COVID on Nextdoor during COVID. Yeah. And I was all alone. And I got fucking
At what point did they block you off Nextdoor?
always like 5 times they blocked me.
This guy's a lunatic. Avoid his house at all costs.
Submit that via WeTransfer, not the one. Oh boy. Oh boy. I have to make a video for Born Primitive. I better do that this morning. Should I do that in my underwear?
Yeah.
Should I be wearing my expert motherfucker shirt?
Definitely, yes.
I should probably be wearing a Born Primitive shirt.
Oh, okay, sure.
You got reported on Nextdoor for using a fake name?
What the fuck?
All right, sun's out here. Wednesday, I'm going to the beach. It's going to be 75 degrees here in Santa Cruz. That means it's going to be hot as shit at the beach.
Really?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Oh, wear your Floyd 19 shirt? I probably should.
Oh, this is interesting.
Good, because I got nothing.
No, this comment.
Oh, wear your Floyd 19 shirt?
No, this one.
Blocking is useless. Just argue and then go your separate ways. It's not that serious. Oh, you think that that's indictment, that it's Pat Lang?
Just more intel.
More data points.
Is anybody going to do a show on the Rogue events that just got announced? Probably Taylor, JR, and Bryson.
Oh, we should do that. Oh, okay.
Just announced them like 30 minutes ago.
Oh, we should definitely do that. CrossFit Games update. Anybody want to do a show tonight about Rogue events? I know exactly. Taylor's going to be like, me and JR and Bryson are doing that on blah, blah, blah on Wednesday.
Or he'll say he'll do the show and then he just won't come on.
No, he'll come on. He likes coming on. Pat has his own channel you should watch.
I think I'm gonna pass.
I'll put that in line with right after CNN and Fox News.
Second coming of Jesus Christ.
Let me see these workouts. 160 double unders, 80-meter handstand walk, 60 GHD sit-ups, 40 box jump overs, log bar muscle ups, log clean, 40-foot yoke, bent 3, back squat, dumbbell snatch. Oh shit! Event 3 does Danielle Brandon do Rogue?
I think so.
There's an event right there. She's done.
Yep.
She's toast. Event 4. Holy shit, they announced them all. This is crazy.
No, not all of them, but most of them.
Row, bench press. Pegboy, event 5, the duel. Oh, that's cool. I like duels. That's going to be like where they have the I like it when they do that.
Yeah, those are always fun to watch.
That's like an elimination event.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. I really like those. And then Ski Erg, stupid. Oh, I guess though, let me see that again. I guess they used it the way JR says it's okay to use, which I kind of believe. It's just for the buy-in to get your heart beat up. Okay.
Mm.
And then wall facing handstand push-ups with some deadlift. Okay. I strike that. Not stupid. Skier is dumb though. Why not just do jump roping? Event 7, Granite City, not announced. And then the Boogeyman. Oh, holy shit. 9 events. Is that a lot for Rogue?
It feels like it. I think it's pretty average though.
All right. What a morning. Great contribution from everyone on the team. All right. Hopefully we can, maybe I can get Souza on too. I'd love to hear his take on the coaches con in Dallas.
You mean the Complainers Con?
Oh yeah. Malioza con, Ackerman con, Souza con. They converted Bryson and Taylor. They're gung ho as shit. All right, I'm going to take a nap. It's late. 9 a.m. All right, love you guys. We'll see you later today. You're welcome. Gobbledygook Con. Yep, Gobbledygook Con. All right. Jew Con. Jew Con. That's good.
Jesus.
Jew Con. Remember when we would have Hobart on? Do you remember James Hobart? And they would do all the Hobart names. No Bart, Go Bart.
No show Bart.
Good night, Thomas.
Miss that guy.
All right. Bye-bye.